friends, this is Moin from Rizbans Kitchen. Today I am dedicating this videos to my colleagues at work and for anybody who wants to make the Indian dishes using some of the box spices that you find in Indian stores and things like that. And I know one of my colleagues at work, a good friend of mine, he asked me if there's a difference with what we use at home, and then sometimes we use the box spices. And I just told him, there are times that we use our own grinded spices, but there's some times that we use these box spices, and they just work great. It's just that when we're making it for the lunch boxes for the masses, we like to usually grind up our own spices because we can get them in big bulks, and we can grind them, and it's not a big deal. But for anybody who is not going to come up with all the spices, you have these spices. Today the dish that I'm gonna make is kadai chicken, one of my favorites, and I'm using two. And if you notice, in the Indian version, the kadai is spelled Kadai, and if you get the Pakistani version, which is the Shan brand, you spell it as Karahi. So these are the two box spices. Now, this is a very quick dish if you have the box spices, and basically all I have is two chicken breast here, cut in pieces. You can make this with bone chicken or boneless. We usually eat boneless here. A couple of green peppers here. Just half chopped onions for the two breasts that we have here. Now, you need to increase that if you use more chicken. And we have about 3 tablespoons of this brand of spice in this plate here, and about 3 teaspoons of this spices here, and 2 teaspoons of this spices here. Then I have 3 tomatoes, coriander leaves, and 2 tablespoons of yogurt. And then what I have here is I have grinded some 2 cloves of garlic and about a small piece of ginger here, which I just put it in the blender, blended it, and then added some water to it, about 250 milliliters of water here. And these are all the things that you're just gonna need. And I can tell you, this video might be a little bit longer because I'm explaining, but once you have all of these items with you, the dish itself takes, I would say, about 10 to 15 minutes to make. So let's get back and I'll show you how that's done. So I have a wok here and put in about 10 ounces of oil. Now it's up to you if you want to use less later on, but I would say that you want to have enough so the chicken can fry in there. And basically I'm just gonna put the chicken in there. Don't have to wait until it heats up. I have the flame here on high heat here. It's in there. I'm gonna use salt to taste, and that's really up to you how much you want to put in there, but that's up to your taste. And basically that's all you see. You see just the chicken and salt in there. I'm going to let this fry here for a little bit. Now, since this is boneless chicken, you have to remember that it's gonna fry quick, and it's gonna it's gonna be done a little bit quicker than if you were to use the bone chicken. So just gotta keep that in mind. But basically, if you see here, it's just starting to fry here a little bit, and I'm gonna come back and show you. Basically, all you do is you just put the ingredients that I've showed you before, a little bit at a time, and just let this thing work. Alright friends, so as you can see, the chicken has turned a little bit, the color here, lightish brown. And basically what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to grab my onions here, half clove of onion finely chopped, and then I'm just going to put that in there, mix it up. Let that work in there for a little bit. And then what I am going to do next, got 3 Roma tomatoes. You can cut these up and throw them in there. I just like to just put them in there, just like that. And this water that I made, ginger garlic paste, very important, ginger garlic paste. If you can't make the water, you know, if you have the cloves, the ginger and the garlic, you could just chop it up, throw it in there. But make sure that you're adding at least 1 cup of water. I have a little bit less here, but I will add some more a little bit later if it's needed. And just remember that tomatoes, they're also going to leave some water in there, and so will the onions. So I'll just make sure and see. But you see it's sizzling here. I'm just going to stir this up real quick. And basically, no spices are going to go in here yet. I'm just going to let this cook. Cover this up for about five minutes or so on high heat, and that should work with the tomatoes. And when we come back, I'll show you what that looks like. So friends, I'm back. So now this has been going on here for about 5 minutes here. Let's open the lid and see what it looks like. As you can see, the tomatoes are dissolving here. I'm just gonna make sure that they are completely dissolved. Just break them apart here. Kind of move them around, stir it a little bit. And as you can see, you know, the water that I put in there looks to be enough. So it's a little bit less than 1 cup of water that I put in there, and that should be good enough here. I had some water aside on the side here, just in case if I needed it, but it doesn't look like I need it anymore. So we're about at 5 minutes here making this dish, and as you can tell that I have not added any spices. I have not anything in there yet. But now that the waters are the tomato is dissolving here, what I will do is I will take 2 of the chilies that I cut up here, just so they can, you know, get the taste in there, and I'll put that in there and give it a quick stir. And I'm gonna cover this up for about a few more minutes here, because it looks like it's almost, you know, the tomato is almost dissolved in there. So I'm just gonna give it a few more minutes, and then we'll be right back. Okay friends, I'm back. So about 7 minutes have gone by here since I put the tomato in there, and as you can see, this is looking already really nice. The aroma is excellent, and I have not even put in any spices in there yet. This is the beauty of some of these dishes that take about, you know, 15 minutes or less, I would say, to make, but they're extremely tasty. So what I will do now is I will take these spices that I got from these boxes. Remember, I have a mixture of these two. You can pick them up at any Indian store. They're always available. This is one of the popular dishes in India and Pakistan both, and many other parts of the Southeast Asian cuisines that you'll find rice. So I'm going to take these spices. Again, they just came out of the boxes. I'm going to dump it in there, and I'm going to give it a quick stir. Wow. Wow. Oh, I wish all of my friends can smell this. This is smelling so good, and it is looking amazing as well. I'm gonna keep it up here. Now that I have the spices in here, we just gotta make sure that we now put the heat to medium. When we add the spices, we want to make sure that the spices are being cooked with the chicken and stuff, and not being burned. But if you keep it the flame at very high, they're gonna get burned. So we don't want to do that, and we'll just cover this up for a little bit more, and that's it. So when we come back, what I will be doing is adding some yogurt and mixing it up, and we like to use butter, and I'll show you that in the end here, and then just kind of mix it up to give it more of a creamier taste. And I'll be back with those final steps, and like I said, 15 minutes, this dish is done, and it will absolutely be wonderful tasting for your family. Ready? Okay friends, so about a minute has gone by, and what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna add the 2 tablespoons of yogurt into the kadai here. Just kind of give it a quick stir, mix it in here. And the next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this is about a half a stick of butter. And that's, to your own preference. If you like to use less, that's fine. If you want to use this, you can even use up to an entire stick of butter. It's just how you like it. So I'm going to take this half stick, I'll throw it in there. And you can make sure that you keep stirring this, because at this point, if you don't do that, it's going to stick to the pan. So you want to make sure you keep stirring it now. The chicken is done. The spices are, looks like they're done. They're sticking to the chicken, and it's just the aroma is great. And this dish is almost done. And as you can see, the butter has melted, and we just want to cook this for a little bit longer, just so everything, is kind of mixed together, mixed really nice. And we'll just garnish it up at the end with some cilantro, and it will be one amazing dish that you can have with rice or naan. Extremely flavorful, and again, like I said, this came from the box spices. They work great. It's up to you if you don't want to, get the various different spices that you have to put in here. You could just get it in that boxed, the packets that they come with, and they work wonderful. Thank you. All right, friends, so I'm back. As you can see, the kadai is done here. One thing I will add, that we wanted to have this tonight, a little bit of a drier version, and so that's why we made it the way that we did. If you wanted to have a little bit of more gravy, obviously you would add a little bit of more yogurt in there and then kind of mix it up, and then it won't look like this. It'll have some gravy to it, and that's something you can do if you'd like. But right now I'm gonna turn the flame off here. I'm gonna grab some cilantro. I'm gonna grab don't be shy when you do this. Just kind of garnish it really, really nice. Get that flavor in. And I will go ahead and dish this up and then show you what it looks like. We are going to have this with a little bit of naan and a little bit of white rice today. And like I said, if it looks a little bit too oily, that's because remember that we put some butter in there too. And that's gonna, it's gonna go really nice with the naan. And then it also, if you put rice to it, the rice absorbs that oil, and it's just really tasty. Like I said, if you wanted more gravy, you can add a couple more tablespoons of yogurt in there, and then you'll have the gravy that you're looking for. But again, very simple recipe. I started making this at about the video at about 9:02, and it's 9:22 right now. So in 20 minutes, I was able to do the instructions and I was able to make this. So really, the dish itself took about 15 minutes to make here. And yeah, we'll come back and see how it looks when it's served on a nice platter. Alright friends, this is Moin again. Like I said, I was gonna dish this up and show you how it looks. So this is the kadai chicken here today. Like I said, this is the drier version of the kadai chicken. If you wanted the gravy, you would add more yogurt to it, and then you'll have like a little bit of a gravy. But this is what we were craving. My wife requested it. This is one of my favorite dishes that I make, and when the wife craves it, I gotta make it. And she was craving this tonight, so I made this. Now normally, if you ever are traveling, to India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, or any of those countries there, you would get this served not on a plate like this, but they would just make it in the pan, and then they would put this pan right in front of you, and basically you just serve yourself from there. And you'll have a pan like this, a lot of naan bread or rice, and that's just how it's served. So like I said, this is Kadai chicken. Again, I made this from the box spices that you can find at any Indian stores. And you know, if you are not aware of any Indian stores, please feel free to reach out to me in the comment section on the YouTube video, and I'll be happy to let you know. And you don't have to give me your address or anything. Just say, hey, you know, is there anything in the Maple Grove area, Plymouth area, or the Bloomington area, and I will do some research. I know a lot of Indian stores in the state of Minnesota here, and I'll be able to guide you to the nearest location where you can pick up these spices and enjoy a family dinner every single night. Thank you.